He said it'll be like it was.
So perverted in the days of Noah, all they thought about was sin, sin, sin. Morning time, wake up, sin. Afternoon, sin. Dinner time, sin. Sin, sin, sin. Against themselves, against others, against children, against animals. Yes. So in Genesis 6, the Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground. For I regret that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord, and thank God for that. Genesis 9 gives the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons. Now, the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on the earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you will build it. So he gave Noah the whole architect on how to build, and the flights that he needed to put into the stairs to separate things. The ark is to be 300 cubits long. That's 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I am going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. So God was going to send what Noah needed to fill the ark. He didn't have to go out. He just needed to do what God said. And guess what? Noah was obedient. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God had commanded because he was an obedient servant. So I encourage you to read your Bible. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit more, but I encourage you to get into Genesis, okay, where it all began. So Genesis 7, the Lord then said to Noah, go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate. And so 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. I know y'all know this story. And I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. But I promise you, even if you know this story, pray that God opens your eyes and your ears, and gives you that wisdom to literally place yourself in that moment. And I promise you, you will see it with brand new eyes. So, and Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. Why, y'all? Because he was faithful. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters that, God was going to flood the earth with in 7 days. Remember? Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds, and of all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark. Because remember, God said, I'm going to send them to you. You ain't got to go find nothing. You're going to have exactly what you need to build it, and you're going to have all these animals sent to you in pairs. Okay, so we're down to 11 now. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and the rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So for 40 days, the flood kept coming on the earth. And as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. Now, what you need to know is Noah was building this ark. There had not been rain. There had not been rain. So him building the ark, he became the outcast. Everybody laughed at him. They thought he was crazy when he said it was going to flood. When they asked what was he doing, they laughed at him. They scoffed. But guess what? They were wanting to get on that once it started raining. I bet you they were, and they were. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. God flooded the earth above the highest mountain top. Now ask yourself, why would he do that? Remember, the preacher was saying about Nephilim, these huge beings that were created. God was trying to flood to get rid of everything. But guess what, y'all? The Nephilim were here before, and the Nephilim was here after the flood. So every living thing that moved on the land perished, birds, livestock, wild animal, all the creatures that swarm over the earth, and all mankind. Everything on dry land that had breath of life in its nostril died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out. People and animals and the creatures that move along the ground and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, Noah and his family. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. Do you know how much water that is? That is 5 months worth of water. 5 months worth of water. So I almost hate to stop reading this, because even though I've read it before, I just enjoyed this story, because it shows God's grace and mercy upon us, that he didn't just end it all and not redo his mistake. It lets us know that even though we do things that don't turn out right, it didn't go as planned, it doesn't mean we have to give up on the dream and the hope of that we can start anew. Okay, so I'm gonna keep reading. If y'all don't want to watch the whole thing, I understand, but I'm gonna keep reading because I just feel pulled to do it. So now we're at Genesis 8. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock that were with him in the ark, and he sent a wind over the earth, and the waters receded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of the heavens had been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. The water receded steadily from the earth. At the end of the 150th day, the water had gone down. And on the 17th day of the 7th month, on a boat, on an ark with a bunch of stinky animals, sleeping animals, but stinky animals nonetheless. Okay, so on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters continued to recede until the 10th month. The tops of the mountains became visible. After 40 days, Noah opened a window he had made in the ark. Remember, God told him to make that window, right? And sent out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground. But the dove could find nowhere to perch, because there was water over the surface of the earth still. Even though it was receding, there was still water there. So it returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand and took the dove and brought it back to him in the ark. He waited 7 more days. But this time when the dove came back, y'all, the dove had something in his beak. He had plucked an olive leaf. A freshly plucked olive leaf was in the dove's beak. Then Noah knew that the water had receded from the earth. He waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again. But this time it did not return to him. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up from the earth. So Noah could actually leave, but he couldn't leave until God told him so. So by the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah then removed the covering from the ark and saw that the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was completely dry. That's when God gave him permission. So even though he saw that it was dry, he still was being obedient to God. I'm going to stay on this here ark until God tells me to move. Then God said to Noah, come out of the ark. Now that was not until the 27th day of the second month. Then God said to Noah, come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds, the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so that they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in number on it. So Noah came out together with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives, all the animals and the creatures that move along the ground and all the birds, everything that moves on land came out of that ark, one kind after another kind. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and taking some of all the clean animals and clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offerings on it. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood, and never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. Now we know that God said that, but he said as long. That means, listen, if something else goes awry and it gets back to the days of Noah, I may have to rethink that basically. That's what that says to me. So, and if you go from Genesis and then jump all the way to the back of the Bible in Revelation, you'll see what I mean. So I hope this was helpful, useful. Hit that like button, share this video out, and remember, don't submit to what they want you to submit to. Only submit to God.